Alright, YouTube, we're back on our bullshit talking about FF7. You know the motherfucking drill. So we got a couple more updates in regards to Part 3 coming directly from the interview thing that we talked about a couple days ago. And also, we have a bit of a leak, if you want to call it that, that is maybe in regards to Part 3, but it's very vague. In regards to the upcoming Game Awards, of course, in just a few days, where we might finally see Remake Part 3. Goddamn, hopefully. So anyways, a couple follow-ups to the previous video. So for one, the interview that we talked about a few days ago with Hamaguchi and the guy from Sandfall was actually done in October, which is something I wasn't aware of. It was done at like the end of October, almost into November. And that matters because we talked about with the previous video that him and Nomura, Hamaguchi and Nomura, were kind of undecided on what title they're going to use for Part 3. They were stuck between two words, and I was under the impression that a couple of days before the Game Awards, they didn't have a title yet. So for me, that's very worrying in terms of like how can they possibly reveal Part 3 of the Game Awards if they don't have a fucking title decided. But now we know that this was back in October when he said this, and he was saying that by the end of the year, they want to have a title decided. So it's been more than a month since the interview was done. So it's very likely now that they do have a title. And to be honest, even though he said that in the interview, more than likely, Nomura and Hamaguchi and Square Enix in general have had a fucking title decided for a very long time for the game. He's probably just saying that. Unless, of course, the subtitle for Part 3 was going to be Requiem, which has been long theorized as a name for the third game. It's a honestly perfect fucking name for Part 3. But obviously Resident Evil 9. Got the announcement first, got the reveal first, and they're using the name Requiem for Resident Evil 9. So it's like, it's possible that that could have been the name for Part 3. Resident Evil 9 gets revealed, and then they have to like come up with a different name, potentially, and maybe that's why they were kind of still undecided as of October. Yeah, shout out to a lot of people that commented on the previous video to let me know that it was done in October, because that alleviated some of the worries, some of the concern I had leading into the Game Awards. So we're good on that. The other follow-up is that from this particular interview conversation, whatever the hell it is, I don't know what to fucking call it. We did learn that Remake Part 3 is going to be used in Unreal Engine 4. And that does matter because we did a video August of last year, and we looked at an interview where Hamaguchi said they were undecided on whether or not they're going to switch to Unreal Engine 5, and I'm not sure if we ever had a follow-up on that. But yeah, from several different sources I've seen talking about this particular video, at some point within it, Hamaguchi does confirm that it is Unreal Engine 4. And them sticking to Unreal Engine 4 is a big reason why they can get the game out as fast as they are getting it, because we're going to be potentially hearing about the game here very, very soon. Obviously, there's the reuse of assets and things like that as well. And also another reason why they stuck with UE4, we've heard this before in other interviews, but people mentioned it in the replies on Reddit, is that they like customize the engine a lot, right? To make like, I guess, Rebirth and Remake and shit like that. So to move on to another Unreal Engine would be just, it'd add more complication, more time to development. So this is obviously fantastic news and leading more credibility to us getting to see, you know, Part 3 here very, very soon, because they stuck to the original engine that they've been working on for however many years at this point. I think they used Unreal Engine 4 for like Kingdom Hearts 3 and then obviously for Remake and then Rebirth. So like they're very familiar with that engine. So as for the leak for the Game Awards, if you want to call it that, air quotes heavily, that may or may not pertain to Part 3. It's super vague, but I guess we'll just talk about it. So we're obviously on the auto-translate type shit. We had Omar from True Gaming saying that there was going to be 6 to 7 strong and exciting titles that'll be at the Game Awards ceremony. And the first-person game everyone's waiting for will have its release date revealed. I'm not sure what that is. Some people will speculate Half-Life 3. And he says famous Japanese companies known for RPG games will be there, which is very vague. And I'd seen this Reddit post yesterday on the Gaming Leaks and Rumors subreddits, and the person who posted this leak from True Gaming mentioned that it potentially could be Part 3, so that's really kind of the only reason we're talking about it. Obviously, their, like, leak, if you want to call it that again, heavy, air quotes, is very vague. First-person game people have been waiting for, JRPG company will be there. We have those all the time. There's a first-person game. How many of those come out a year? How many JRPGs at this point come out every single year, right? So that doesn't really give us anything, but it's maybe just another little tiny bit of cope that we'll see Part 3 at the Game Awards. I'm going to correct myself a bit there, because I don't think it's necessarily cope to expect Part 3 at the Game Awards, because it's been kind of long overdue, based on like the time frame for the development of the game. Like a lot of us were expecting something over the summer, and that obviously did not happen. At this point, Rebirth is almost 2 years old. Like they're long overdue for some sort of announcement for Part 3. So I don't think it's necessarily cope to expect at the Game Awards. But if it doesn't happen, which would fucking suck, hopefully we get it sometime at the beginning of next year. Also, Omar does have like a decent track record. I don't think he's like 100% from what I've seen people talking about in the replies, but he did get like some sort of like Onimusha like leak or reveal announcement thing, sort of whatever. He was right about that. And also the Tomb Raider one that just got announced like a day or so ago. Like Tomb Raider's going to be at the Game Awards. I think they're revisiting the franchise finally after however many years. So like he's had some correct things over the past, but again, what he says here is very vague. Also did check on Nate's Twitter account to see if like there's any like discussion of like Square Enix or whatever, and somebody did ask him about Square Enix at the Game Awards. So they said, Nate, do you know if Square Enix will be at the Game Awards? Don't need to know any games, just that they have a presence. To which he said, I haven't heard anything about them having a meaningful presence. Which at first does sound bad, but it doesn't ultimately mean anything. He just hasn't heard anything about whether or not Square Enix is going to be there. And he does clarify in the next reply with the person that it is still possible they could be there. He just, again, hasn't heard anything. Something to take note of going into the Game Awards in a few days, right? That maybe Square Enix might not be there, at least in any sort of meaningful capacity, but that doesn't mean anything for sure, right? He just hasn't heard anything. And as great of like a source and a leaker as Nate is, it's not like he's the be-all, end-all, has all the info all the time, right? So, like, it's just possible from his sources he hasn't heard anything. So that's pretty much everything that I'm aware of right now in regards to, like, Part 3 leading up into the Game Awards. Unless there's something else out there you guys can let me know about that we can maybe talk about tomorrow or some shit. It's kind of everything currently. 2 days, man. This Thursday, the Game Awards might finally get our first look at Remake Part 3, and maybe we can finally stop fucking calling it that. Pretty hyped for Game Awards at this point. I'm excited for anything we might get from Square Enix. Obviously, Remake Part 3 is the big one. That's one we've been waiting for a long time. But really, I'll be satisfied if we get anything from Square Enix in regards to the big franchises. Kingdom Hearts 4, Dragon Quest 12, something from Nier, whatever, right? Give us anything, please, dear God, Square Enix. We need something besides Dragon Quest remakes and shit. Give us something. Not Killer N, though. Don't give me another fucking trailer for Killer N, please. Pretty much it for now, my dudes. Unless we do a video tomorrow at some point, I'll definitely see you guys Thursday for either a very happy video or a rant video for the lack of something from Square Enix. I don't know. We'll see. Anyways, that's the video. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, so in the description below. Follow me on Twitter, @ffvii. That's it. Bye.
Used to care what people thought, but now I care more, and nobody out here's got it figured out. So therefore, I've lost all hope of a happy ending, depending on whether or not it's worth it. So insecure, no one's perfect. We spend it with no shame. We blow that like Coltrane. We in here like Low Gain or leave it like Cobain.